TorontoTV, and today I'd like to introduce you to one of our new hosts who will be joining our team, Anita Li. Welcome, Anita.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. So, Anita, can you let us know, our viewers know, where you heard about Toronto TV?
Well, I was on this listserv for an arts and entertainment network, I think specifically for Asian Canadians, and I signed up and I found out about this opportunity and I decided to go for the interview and I got the job.
So you came for the interview just last week?
No, it was actually prior to the holidays, so I met with Joseph probably mid-December. Yeah.
And were you born here?
Yes, I was born and raised in Toronto, Canada all my life. So.
Do you speak Cantonese at all?
I do. Hopefully I'm getting better because I'm trying to practice more and more, but right now it's just limited in conversation.
Who would you say you practice with? Do you speak it with just your family, or do you have Cantonese or Mandarin friends?
I have a lot of Cantonese and Mandarin friends because I live in Scarborough and there's a high population of Cantonese people. But I also try to speak at home, and I have one person in particular that I practice it with a lot. So.
Who's that?
That's just my best friend, actually.
Oh, okay. And do you have a big family?
No, not at all, actually. It's just your typical 4-person family: mom, dad, older sister, and me.
So 2 girls.
Yeah.
Did your parents, like, the typical Asian family usually wants, like, a son. Did your parents want a son?
No, I don't think so. I think my mom and dad are totally both in love with me and my sister, and we each bring something different to the table, so they were really happy with 2 daughters, yeah.
And are you close with your parents, would you say?
Oh yeah, I'm so close. Like, my mom and my dad are my best friends, and as well as my sister, so I'm pretty lucky.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know how it is, but, like, how old are you?
I'm 19, actually, yeah.
Especially around that age, I find a lot of kids, like, they're getting into their own skin and getting comfortable with themselves and finding out about themselves, and they kind of stay hidden from their parents. But that's really great.
Yeah, I've never actually had that problem because I've always had a close relationship. So, yeah, I don't think I've been the rebellious type or anything.
Were your parents born here?
Well, my mom came when she was 12 and my dad came when he was 18. So they're relatively, very much integrated into Canadian society. So they're really Canadianized, and that's why I guess I'm the way I am. I'm basically Canadian upbringing. So, yeah.
That would explain a lot.
Yeah,
because
a lot of people say that.
They're, I guess, being raised in the Western society, they're more lenient, whereas from the East, they're more strict, and they're very by the book, and you have to be this way, especially because you're a girl. Yeah.
But I know a lot of my friends had that problem, but I was lucky, and I just have a lot of freedom to do what I want to do. So I'm just really lucky in that respect, yeah.
And so what is it that you do? Like, are you still in school?
Yeah, I'm actually attending University of Toronto St. George at Trinity College, and I'm currently taking International Relations and Asia Pacific Studies, and I'm also minoring in English, and I'm in my 2nd year.
So you're studying international studies?
Yes.
So studying international relations, do you plan on working in Canada, or do you plan on working somewhere else in the future?
Well, my ultimate aspiration is to become a broadcast journalist, so hopefully my ideal is to become part of the East Asian Bureau or the Beijing Bureau and be a foreign correspondent for a major news network and go overseas and report on news in that the Asia Pacific area specifically. So probably in the beginning I'll start off local, and hopefully I'll expand my horizons and eventually go overseas to do journalism. So, yeah.
So you do want to focus on Asia?
Yes, definitely. So, because for me, it's very much part of who I am, to be integrated. I was raised Canadian, but my ethnicity is ultimately Chinese, so I just like to merge those two, and I think it's something that I'd really enjoy doing because I'd feel more complete in that sense, so, yeah.
That's very admirable that even though you're raised here and, you were born here, that you still want to keep in touch with your roots.
Yeah, definitely, thanks.
And do you think, like, it's as a result of living in Canada as opposed to America? Because I know in America, and I met a lot of Asians in the U.S., where they don't consider themselves Asian, they consider themselves American. And I think, like, being raised in Canada, because there's so many different ethnic backgrounds, and we maintain that with the little Italy or the Chinatown, that we remain true to our culture. Do you think that has a big part to do with it?
Actually, yeah. That's actually a really interesting point. I never thought about that sense, but I actually very much agree with that statement. But for me personally, on a personal level, it's more that I was raised in a Canadian manner, but at the same time, my parents always encouraged me to learn more about my background and just encouraged me to practice my language, or the language that like my parents spoke back home. So I just think that's what enabled me to maintain the passion that I have for my roots and my parents' home country. So yeah.
Do you guys watch Chinese television at home and sing
Sometimes.
karaoke? And
Sing karaoke. Sometimes I do, but to be honest, I do prefer English language television. But recently I saw Mogando, which is Infernal Affairs. It's starring Andy Lau, and I really like that movie. So I'm starting to become more familiarizing myself with pop culture in East Asia. So, but right now, not my favorite thing, I have to say.
Speaking of Chinese and English movies, there's a current movie out right now called Departed, and it's getting a lot of recognition. And a lot of people don't know, but the original film was from Chinese.
Yeah.
And Andy Lau was in it.
That's the one that I actually just saw.
Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
that's exactly it.
Okay. I haven't seen the Chinese version, so I don't know myself what it
Yeah.
was, but I heard, like, compared to the English one, the Chinese one, the people who have actually seen the Chinese one compare it,
They say it's
they
better,
say
right?
it's much better.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know. I think I have a bit of a bias because I saw The Departed first. I saw it in the theaters, and I thought that was amazing. So probably the second time around when I saw it, I knew the outcome. I knew it was going to happen. And so ultimately, I prefer the English language version too. And probably because I recognize the stars more.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, going back to your mentioning of international relations and journalism, is that why you're interested in hosting with Toronto TV to get practice and exposure?
Definitely. I think this is an awesome opportunity for me to engage myself in the broadcasting industry, and I'm just so grateful that Joseph and everybody at Toronto TV gave me this opportunity to actually do this and meet great people like yourself. I think it's really good experience for me personally because I've had a lot of experience in print journalism, in internet journalism, but I've never actually had any on-air time, so it's great. This is my first time and I'm enjoying it. So yeah.
You mentioned something about radio. Have you done radio broadcasting before?
I haven't done radio broadcasting per se with as in hosting, but I volunteer at my university radio station, and it's called CIUT-FM. It's in St. George campus, and I've done some workshops there. I've aired some music and just kind of learning the ropes along the way, but it's a volunteer thing.
Do you find it radio and television, or in this case internet, similar, or is there like a big difference?
I think the medium's the same, but it's very different. I mean, each different types of journalism are vastly different in different respects. So, I mean, I would say that radio is very much different from television, mainly because of the obvious, basically, visual versus audio. So, yeah.
Which one would you say you prefer?
I prefer television.
And why is that?
Because it's so much more engaging. I mean, I've always been not much of a radio person, but I've been a television person, and it's because visuals are very engaging to the human eye and they capture somebody's attention, whereas, audio is, you're just listening with your ears, but in terms of television, it's ears and eyes. So.
Do you find you connect better with the viewer when you do something that allows them to see you visually?
Yeah,
as
definitely.
Opposed to audio?
I think so. I think it's the closest thing that you can do in terms of eye contact, and it's the next best thing next to one-on-one in person. So I think eye contact is essential to engaging your audience, definitely.
And it gives you a reason to dress up.
Yeah, exactly.
And get a makeup artist.
Yeah.
So, a part of, for your international relations, I guess, knowing different languages is very, an advantage. And I see on your resume that you also know French and Spanish. So are you fluent?
No, I'm not. I think I'm a bit rusty after being in university for 2 years. I don't have much opportunity to focus on those studies because it's very narrow in university. So I learned French from grade 4 to 12, so it's a long portion of my life, and I think I'm pretty good conversational, and speaking and writing and reading is pretty good as well. But my Spanish I learned from grade 10 to grade 12, so I've only had about 2 years experience, but I think it's adequate enough to get by if I get lost in Latin America or something.
Have you ever gone to another country where you had to practice using those languages?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm fortunate enough that my father has brought my family and I all across to so many places around the world. So I've been able to use, French in Paris. I've been able to use Spanish, and most recently where I came from, which is Honduras in Central America. So I've been really fortunate to be able to put those language skills into use. So.
That's great.
Yeah.
What does your father do that allows you to travel this way?
He's an engineer, or specifically mechanical designer, so you can call him an architect. And he owns his own business called Phoenix Design, but he also works for another company called Tamcal. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I also see on your resume that you also have CPR experience.
Yeah.
And is that something you took out of interest, or was there someone that close to you that has heart or health problems that you felt the need to prepare yourself in case you were put into that situation?
Well, I think CPR is pretty essential for everybody to know, but I don't know anybody personally who has heart problems that compelled me to learn CPR. But the reason why I did was because at the time I was in high school, and popular job for high school students during the summer is to do summer camp counselor, and that's a prerequisite in order to get the job. So, and I also thought it was a very useful skill that I'd like to maintain in the future as well.
Can you give us a little more background of your work experience?
With respect to journalism, or
just in general, just so we can get a feel of what you've done.
Well, actually, I haven't had so much formal work experience. I currently work at the University of Toronto. I work at Trinity College's Grand Library. I shelf books, pretty much that's it. And I also work as a University of Toronto Heart House ambassador, which I basically welcome students, faculty, just guests into the university and get them acquainted with the center of the university, which is Heart House. So you could do a whole bunch of stuff there, like athletics and different clubs and committees. But in terms of journalism experience, it's extremely extensive. I mean, I've had experience now in internet/television journalism. I have experience in radio journalism, as I said before, and print. I've written for the Toronto Star, and I've also interned at CTV Television Network, actually. I've been fortunate to have a lot of these experiences, and altogether they culminate to make me want to pursue journalism even more, solidified my decision to become a journalist.
So working at, you said CTV?
Yeah.
So how did you get into that?
Well, during high school we have this summer co-op program, and what occurs is that I said to my counselor that I was interested in journalism and broadcast journalism specifically. So I got a summer co-op opportunity there, and I was a research and archives assistant, and they hired me after that because I guess they were impressed with my skills. So yes.
And you also wrote print.
Yes.
And where was that for?
It was
Toronto Star?
Yeah, the Toronto Star, and I've also done stuff for some magazines called Verve Girl magazine. But right now I'm a junior journalist for the Toronto Star. So basically what that is junior journalists write about social issues. So stuff, the most recent article I wrote was about evolution with regards to the Leakey family, which is a big name in evolution. And prior to that, I wrote about the North Korea disarmament issue, the nuclear disarmament issue. So
for our viewers who wanted to pursue what you've done for working with Toronto Star or CTV, how would they go about doing that?
Well, for me, I'm extremely passionate about journalism, and in my spare time I actually seek out opportunities like these. So what I'd suggest for anybody interested in the career is to just go on the websites and just look up stuff like work opportunities, internship opportunities, volunteer opportunities, or you could just shoot the editor an email. It's no harm done. I mean, the worst they can say is no. So.
Is that how you got involved with Toronto Star?
Toronto Star. Actually, that was an ad in a newspaper that I noticed in the Toronto Star, but yeah. So it wasn't actually just randomly shooting emails.
Oh, so they actually put out an ad for that.
I think they're a bit more particular. Toronto Star is a major newspaper in the metropolitan area, so I don't think they would probably wouldn't be readily accepting of just random resumes coming in.
Right.
There's no harm done in giving it a chance. So.
So, you've done a lot of things, as your resume has pointed out.
Thanks.
What are some of your most proudest accomplishments?
Well, for me personally, right now actually is ranking up there with number one. That and interning at CTV, as I said before, and writing for the Toronto Star. But I think above all, I recently got a Community Services Award when I graduated from the Jean Lim Awards Association, and it's basically an awards association that recognizes young Asian Canadians contributing to the community, and I got a Community Services Award for that because I'm also involved in community service, which is something that I feel very passionate about in terms of ethnic issues, youth issues, and development issues as well. Yeah.
Now, wanting to be in journalism and broadcasting, there has to be someone that's already doing that you look up to. Who would you say that would be?
Oh, that's a great answer. Question. Well, for print journalism, my idol would be Jan Wong, and she writes for the Globe and Mail, and I've read all her books about China because she was one of the first people admitted to Beijing University after the communists opened up China. And I would say I admire her much because she was there for the Tiananmen Square massacre, covering it, staying up until 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., just being a trooper in terms of journalistically speaking. So that's print journalism. And in terms of broadcasting, I would say Lisa Ling. So you can see a pattern there. Both are Asian Canadians, Asian Americans, and that's because she started off when she was really young. She was 16 years old when she started off in broadcasting. And I just really admire her immensely. I mean, I covered her job because she works at the National Geographic Society, and that enables her to travel as well as do journalism.
Right.
So I greatly look up to her, yeah.
Yeah, and I can see the similarities of the people you admire in yourself. You guys are very passionate, and you want to bring attention to causes that, are important.
Thanks so much.
What did I want to ask you? Is there anything else that you would like to tell our viewers about yourself that
well,
they may not know?
Well, an interesting fact about me is that I can write backwards, kind of like Leonardo da Vinci did.
Like spelling?
Yeah, just I can write my name. I would do a demonstration, but we can't here right now.
Oh, we can actually.
Oh.
I'm being told. So
Okay. It's a very simple thing.
This I have to see.
So I can. It's simply. Thank you. So I can just write. Or you can zoom in here a bit.
Yeah, we're gonna zoom in, and we gotta see this talent here.
it's not much of a talent, but we'll see. Okay, so I can write. Hopefully, can you get this? Or
Oh, because you're right-handed.
oh yeah.
Maybe we can trade spots for a second.
Oh yeah. Okay. Sure. Thanks. So I can write my name as Anita Li backwards. So it would be like this. Yep. So that would be it. That's it backwards. So if you put this in a mirror image,
wow.
you'd be able to see it frontwards. That's just a random fact about me. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, I get it. So like if there was a mirror,
you
can actually see that. That is
it's
so
just a quirky
cool.
thing. Thanks.
When did you realize you had this talent?
I don't know. I've always been adept with the English language, and I think I was just playing around, and I realized I could do it pretty well. And it's just a fun party favor thing where I just go up to people and say, hey, I can write backwards.
That is so funny. I'm just flexible. That's what I found out about myself.
That's
one
good.
day, trying to scratch an itch.
That's useful.
So when you start working on hosting Toronto TV, is there an actual segment or a topic that you want to focus on?
Well, I'm actually wanting to do a travel show because, as I mentioned before, I've done extensive traveling with my family, and I already planned a segment coming up, and I'm going to cover my most recent trip because I went on a cruise to Belize and Honduras, which is in Central America, and what I want to bring to the audiences is just a taste of the world, and not only that, not only covering tourist sites and food and culture, but I also want to shed some light on the developmental issues because, as some of the viewers may know, Belize and Honduras and many other countries are actually developing countries, and a lot of them have a big economic disparity between the rich and the poor. So I just want to shed some light on issues, just social issues going on in different countries as well. So.
It's also it's going to be a very interesting and informative show,
Thank
so
you.
we look forward to that. And one last question I want to ask you, since it is still early in the new year, what's your New Year's resolution?
I think I just want to maintain a positive outlook for the rest of the year and maintain a healthy lifestyle, keep up my exercise, try to eat healthier even though that's difficult because I love sweets, and just hopefully I'll do a good job for the Toronto TV and I won't let you guys down. That's it.
I really doubt you will.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Anita, and we really look forward to seeing your show next week.
Okay, thank you for having me.
So, good night, and thank you for watching Toronto TV. I was your host, Eva Phung, and this is our guest, Anita Li, your new host, and we'll see you next time.